Hi, and thank you for joining me for the Iris Doily tutorial. My name is Agat from Made by Guti. For my tutorial I'm going to use a 3.5mm crochet hook and a sport yarn which is 100% cotton yarn and 6 stitch markers. For this pattern you can use any yarn weight you want with a suitable hook. This pattern is easily repeatable and you can work it as big as you'd like. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so let's start with a magic ring. Wrap the yarn around your 2 fingers. Then insert the hook into the yarn and pull the tail into the ring. And then chain 1. So this is your magic ring. Now we will chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we will work into the ring. So work 1 double crochet, then chain 1, and now work 2 double crochet stitches, and work 1 chain. Now repeat 4 more times, work 2 double crochet stitches, then chain 1, Now after the last chain 1, pull the ring tight to close it, and then slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain 3. Now at the end of round 1 you will have 12 double crochet stitches and 6 chain 1 spaces. Now to start round 2, we will slip stitch into the next double crochet stitch, and into the chain 1 space because you want to work into the chain. Now we will chain 3, which again counts as a double crochet, and we will work into the same chain 1 space, 1 double crochet, then chain 2, and work another 2 double crochet into the same space. Okay, now we will skip the next 2 double crochet stitches and work 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space. Now chain 2 and work another 2 double crochet into the same space. Now repeat these stitches into each of the next chain 1 spaces until the end of the round. So again work 2 double crochet stitches into the chain 1 space, chain 2, and another 2 double crochet into the same space. So again repeat these stitches, and when you reach the end of the round, slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain 3. So at the end of round 2 you will have 24 double crochet and 6 chain 2 spaces. So we are moving on to round 3, and as the same as the second round, we are slip stitching into the next space. So slip stitch into the next double crochet stitch, and then into the chain 2 space. So now we will start by chaining 3 again, and work 1 double crochet into the same chain 2 space, then chain 1 and work another 2 double crochet stitches into the same space. Now we will chain 1 and place a stitch marker around this chain 1. And now work 2 double crochet stitches into the same space. Okay, so we have 6 double crochet stitches and 2 chain 1 spaces, all into the same chain 2 space. So now we'll start repeating. Skip the next 4 double crochet stitches, work 2 double crochet into the next space, then work chain 1 and again 2 double crochet into the same space, then chain 1 and work another 2 double crochet stitches into the same space. And now we will place a stitch marker around the second chain 1 space we made. Now we will repeat into each of the next chain 2 spaces until the end of the round. Now don't forget to place the stitch marker around the second chain 1 space. So repeat and I will meet you at the end of the round. Okay, so this is round 3. I slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain 3, and at the end of this round you will have 36 double crochet stitches and 12 chain 1 spaces. So let's move on to round 4. Again we are slip stitching into the next double crochet stitch because we are always working into the spaces in this pattern, and then into the chain 1 space. And now again we will chain 3 and work a double crochet into the same space, chain 1 and work another 2 double crochet stitches into the same space. Now this is a round of iris stitch all around. The iris stitch is a double V stitch. It's 2 double crochet stitches, then chain 1 and another 2 double crochet stitches working into the same chain space. Okay, so now we are skipping the 2 double crochet stitches and we are moving the stitch marker and we will put it back again. So skip the next 2 double crochet stitches and work an iris stitch into the next space. So again, work 2 double crochet and then chain 1 and work 2 double crochet stitches and place back the stitch marker into the chain 1 space. So we are moving the stitch markers along as we walk around because it will help us later to know where to increase. Now we will repeat again, skip the next 4 double crochet stitches and work an iris stitch into the next space. Now skip the 2 double crochet stitches, remove the marker and work an iris stitch into the next space, and don't forget to put back the stitch marker. Okay, so place back the stitch marker around the chain 1 space. Now repeat around, working iris stitches around and placing the stitch markers where you need to. Then again slip stitch into the top of the chain of the beginning chain 3. So at the end of round 4 you will have 48 double crochet stitches and 12 chain 1 spaces. So now we will start round 5 and we will slip stitch into the next double crochet and into the next chain 1 space. Then we will chain 3 and work a double crochet into the same space, then chain 1 and another 2 double crochet into the same space. Now we will skip the next 4 double crochet stitches and work into the marked chain 1 space. So remove the marker and work and increase into the space. So we are working 2 double crochet, chain 1, another 2 double crochet into the same space, chain 1 again, and another 2 double crochet. Then place back the stitch marker around the second chain 1 you made. Now we will work into the next space, work an iris stitch, 2 double crochet, chain 1 and another 2 double crochet. Then skip the next 4 stitches and increase into the next chain 1 space which has the marker, so remove the marker and work 2 double crochet stitches, chain 1, another 2 double crochet stitches into the same space, chain 1 again and another 2 double crochet stitches into the same space. And don't forget to place back the stitch marker around the second chain 1 space you made. So repeat around, working iris stitches into the unmarked chain 1 spaces and increase into the marked spaces, then slip stitch to the top of the beginning chain 3, and I will meet you at the end of the round. Okay, so at the end of round 5 you will have 60 double crochet stitches and 18 chain 1 spaces, and we are moving on to round 6. So slip stitch into the next double crochet stitch and into the next chain 1 space. And this round is a full round of iris stitches. So we will work an iris stitch, a double crochet, chain 1 and 2 double crochet into each of the spaces around. And remember to move the stitch marker along into the same chain 1 space of the iris stitch that you are working into the same stitch, so you will know where to increase in the next round. So let's start. Chain 3 and work a double crochet into the same space, then chain 1 and work 2 double crochet into the same space. Then skip the 4 double crochet stitches and work an iris stitch into the next chain 1 space. Now chain 1 again and work another 2 double crochet stitches into the same space. And now we reached the marked chain 1 space, so remove the marker and work an iris stitch into the next space. So again 2 double crochet stitches, chain 1 and another 2 double crochet stitches, and don't forget to put back the stitch marker into the chain 1 space. So in this round we will repeat working an iris stitch into the next 2 chain spaces and then an iris stitch with the marker into the third one. So I will repeat one more time. And now work an iris stitch and place back the stitch marker. Okay, so repeat around and again slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the end of the round, and then we will move on to round 7. Okay, so at the end of round 6 you will have 72 double crochet stitches and 18 chain 1 spaces. And now we are moving to round 7. So we are slip stitching into the next double crochet stitch and then into the chain 1 space, and this is an increase round, so we will start again by chaining 3 and working 1 double crochet into the chain 1 space, then chain 1 and work 2 double crochet into the same space. So we will be working iris stitches in each of the unmarked chain 1 spaces and then an increase into the marked chain 1 spaces. So let's start. Work an iris stitch into the chain 1 space, so work 2 double crochet, now chain 1 and work another 2 double crochet into the same space. And now we reached a marked space, so remove the marker and work an increase, which is 2 double crochet, chain 1 and another 2 double crochet into the same space, then a second chain 1 and another 2 double crochet into the same space, and then place back the stitch marker into the second chain 1 space you made, and now repeat around. So again work an iris stitch into each of the unmarked chain 1 spaces, second, work an increase into the marked chain 1 space, and place back the stitch marker into the second chain 1 of the increase stitch. Then repeat around and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 space. So at the end of round 7 you will have 84 double crochet and 24 chain 1 spaces. So to keep increasing your doily, repeat rounds 6 and 7 until you reach the desired size of your doily, and then make sure to finish with round 6. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. You can find the written instructions and photo tutorial on my blog, Made by Guti. I will link everything below. Thank you so much for joining me.